Hello everyone, it's Nemia here today. I'm going to be talking to you about my feelings about the Winter Offensive update for Season 1 of Battlefield 6 as it just finished last week. Today I'm going to be talking about the limited time Battlepass Path, the game mode, Ice Lock, which was Ice Lock Empire State Domination and Conquest, and the Winterfied Empire State. So if you enjoyed the video today, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's dive right into it. So the Winter Offensive update came out on December 9th, which was about a month after the California Resistance update, which came out on November 18th. With this update, we got a limited time Battle Pass path, which included the Climax melee weapon with some other cosmetics in the limited time path, the Ice Lock game mode for Conquest and Domination on a Winterfied Empire state, with some changes with the vehicle behavior, audio, and the combat flow. This update was much needed in my opinion, as Season 1 so far wasn't very huge, and I thought, like, just this extra little bit of content was going to really help it, because I thought a lot of the attention in Season 1 was towards Battlefield RedSec, which is the very divisive battle royale within the community. Now, let's dive right into some of the areas of improvement that I said for the Winter Offensive. For the Winter Offensive update, it was important that the audio got updated, and a couple of weeks later, when I'm writing this, is actually slightly better. In some areas, it's actually worse. Usually on more of the urban style maps like Empire State, Siege of Cairo, and Manhattan Bridge. The audio can still get a little wonky where you think you can hear a guy on the same floor as you in the building, but they end up being in the building next to you or just somewhere else completely. And for vehicles, it did not get better. It's honestly like for like maps like Eastwood, like you could be almost to see like on the hills coming from one of the spawns, and you'll hear your helicopter across the map, and it sounds like it's right above you, which in my opinion is just insane to hear because that should not happen. I've had a lot of times where I was actually streaming a couple of weeks ago, and a helicopter I thought was flying right over me because I was trying to take down a couple of metal birds, but no, it was coming out of my spawn. It's like, come on, Dice. The audio can't be that hard. Like the audio in other Battlefield games has not been this bad to the point where you just think you hear a vehicle in your spawn or coming out of spawn or like above or bleh, sorry, excuse me. When the vehicles are above you, you think the vehicles are above you, but they're actually coming out of your spawn. But yeah, that's just crazy to me. Hopefully in Season 2, DICE can readdress the vehicle audio, especially for helicopters, and that can actually improve where you can actually hear and actually then look in the proper direction and find it. But we can only hope for that. There's also just a litany of other issues that DICE needs to work on, though. DICE also tried to address an issue with players feeling like they're getting shot around the corners. I don't know about you, but I felt like that was happening like every other game, or at least like 3-4 times a game if you were playing really aggressive, along with improving the hit registration across all situations, which feels a little bit better than before the Winter Offensive update. Some other improvements I'll throw in quick is updating breakthrough and rush layouts on multiple maps to improve the attacker and defender balance. 3, they're adjusting vehicle distribution and changing zones to capture MCOM locations. Like, it's good, but to be honest, it's actually kind of bad. It's very attacker sided, especially in breakthrough right now. On some maps, the attackers get 3 vehicles at points, like 2 tanks and a like a buggy with a turret, and your team's just completely screwed because you don't get a single vehicle, and you just have to hope everyone plays engineer with RPGs or actually places anti-tank mines and stuff to actually prepare for that. And then if you're on attacker, it's just usually like, yeah, it can be hard when you don't have vehicles, but you know, when you have vehicles a lot of the time, you can just stomp teams and run them over. And it's just really annoying. So it's like, even when I've been playing Breakthrough, it just feels impossible to win on defense. But on attacker, it just sometimes feels like it's a casual just walk through, and then you just feel like, are they just dog shit, or is it just the vehicle distribution? And I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's a lot of vehicle distribution right now. Hopefully they can address that. I think the improvement to the actual space where the zones and actually improving how big they can be for some of the maps has been actually very helpful for attackers, and which is still kind of a downside for the defenders then. But also the attackers kind of needed it to be able to push because in some maps were really hard to push, like Liberation Peak. The MCOB locations, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even realize they changed them until I played Rush for a week for some weekly challenges, and that completely threw me off for like the entire game. But once I figured it out, I actually kind of like the locations more for some of them, but some of them just feel really out in the open. I can't remember the specific example off the top of my head, unfortunately, but it, it's a little bit better, but hopefully in season 2 they can just adjust these things a little bit. Hopefully with Breakthrough they kind of need to overhaul the entire vehicle distribution across the board, in my opinion. But hopefully with season 2, DICE can address this. For this little update, DICE decided instead of adding an actual winter map, they're just gonna like just throw in Empire State as a reworked visualization. Sorry, my brain's melting as I'm trying to think about that again, because I'm just trying to think about like maybe they could try to remake one of the Arctic maps from Battlefield 2042, even though how horrible that game is. That map's kind of fun. I actually kind of liked it, the personal opinion. But besides that, like, why Empire State? Like, out of all maps, they picked the one map in the game with 0 vehicles, super small, and it has a horrible fucking flow to it. Horrible flow to it. Like, excuse my French, but jeez. Why, why do they pick the most chaotic Call of Duty-like map in the game? It's just pure chaos. It's sometimes overstimulating. It's not very fun, because sometimes you're just beating on a team so hard if you can control the chaos. Which, if you have a squad of 4 in a match of domination, you can control the chaos very well with a SCW or an NVO. Trust me, I've done it multiple times. But here's the thing. It just gets super annoying because the game mode just once you stay next to fire and just encourages camping next to fire, and it just makes it more chaotic because you're just going to die a lot more the second you step away from the stupid fire barrels. And it's like unfair because especially on Domination Site C for that spawn, there's a barrel and you just look up the stairs where I'm actually right now in this gameplay. Yeah, you can look up these stairs, so as soon as you run down those stairs, you just have a fucking just ugly peak on them. And it's super hard to actually beat that peak, especially when you start on a support pack and just camp there and just get your kills for the challenge for the limited time pass, which I did, to be honest. But to be fair, should I have been in the game? Probably not. So I think they could have probably picked a better map like Manhattan Bridge. Like, to be completely honest, like, Manhattan Bridge just is essentially the same kind of flow of map. Actually, a little bit better pacing because it's spread out a little bit more. The verticality on the one side of the map kind of makes it a little bit weird. But at least it also has vehicles like helicopters and tanks. It doesn't have any jets because it doesn't have the space for it. But at least it has vehicles of some sort. So it at least can spice up the gameplay that way and actually give a lot more variety to it and for the flow of the game. I mean, the buildings are the same, very similar style, like the on both maps because they take place in the same city of New York City. So it doesn't even matter. In my opinion, next year I hope they genuinely make either a completely new Arctic themed map for the winter for like a winter offensive style update, or they just do Manhattan Bridge. They virtualize for the revisualization update and the game mode. So like the game mode is kind of okay. It's just conquest and domination, just with a little bit of flair. As I mentioned before, there's the flaming barrels, which, to be honest, is the whole gimmick of the game mode. So if you stand next to the flaming barrels, it's the only time you can get health regen. As soon as you step away from the frozen barrels, and you stand outside, and you stand like outside or stand still for a while, you'll become frozen. After I can't remember exactly how long for a while, but you'll start taking damage. So you gotta get to a barrel. So essentially, you can get through gunfights and die very fast. So you can win your first gunfight, take like 50 damage, then die in 2 bolts in the next. So you'll most likely lose. It is what it is. It's a fun game mode. I don't know, gets boring and very repetitive after a while. So I feel like they could have made it a little bit better, especially for the challenges. Because for some of the challenges, like for one of the sorry, whoa. For one of the challenges, they made it so you actually have to heal an ally for 1,000 health when the update first came out on December 9th, which is completely insane. I only got to like 100 after about the first week, and then they finally brought it down to 500, and after 2 days after that, they brought it down to like 300. So at least they improved it over time, but it just really shows that DICE needs a little bit more time to actually test these limited time game modes if they want to keep doing these for events, which I honestly think they should not do and focus on the actual core gameplay modes like Conquest, Conquest, Breakthrough, Escalation, even Domination, because Domination's pretty fun in this game, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion on the maps and mode, or Empire State and Ice Lock. Just a quick little overview of the Lone Time Battlepass Path. There's nothing really special in here besides the climbing axe. This is fine, it's just another skin for the knife. It doesn't really do anything special, in my opinion. It's nothing cool like the sledgehammer or had the drone glitch for a lot of Season 1. But to be honest, this Battle Pass Path, I had a big issue with to unlock it. With same issue that I had with the California Resistance Battle Pass Path. That's the fact that the only way to unlock them is through challenges, and these challenges are just not very well tested by DICE. You can clearly tell they're rush challenges because they're actually insane goals for how long. It gives a little bit of it gives a very big FOMO feel to these limited time modes, and it kind of actually makes you feel like you can only play these modes at the time, which makes it very repetitive, and it really burns you out of the game mode really fast. Besides that, like, it's an okay pass. Just they gotta test these. Like, for example, the heal allies in the barrels for 1,000 health when it first released for like the first 2 days. I think it was in first 2 or 3 days until they updated it. That's ridiculous to even try to get to. Like, I only got to like 100, and I was trying for a while because I mainly play support and domination and conquest on this map because in my opinion engineer isn't really worth. And those are the main two classes I play, and since there's no vehicles, I'm not gonna play engineer because I usually play anti-armor and use the RPG. But yeah. So that's my opinion on this little battle pass. I honestly give it a 1 out of 5 metal turtles out of 5. So that was kind of the nitty gritty of this update, but genuinely I'd give this update, yeah, 1 out of 5 metal turtles, I just said before. But they need to do something else to keep people engaged for this upcoming month because this seems to be the last big update before Season 2. 2's launch, which should be in about a couple weeks. I think 3 now? 2-3 weeks? I don't actually have no idea. I haven't kept up with it in a couple days. I've been playing a lot of Arc Raiders with some friends the past like 2-3 days to watch maybe even Arc Raiders upload at some point. But yeah, but hopefully they can just, with Season 2 comes out in the next couple weeks, they update the audio, especially for helicopters and infantry when they're in buildings. And hopefully they add like honestly 3 maps at launch. 3 maps at launch is really needed with like another 4 or 5 guns. That would just really help the game try to grow and keep players engaged. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video today, please leave a like, subscribe, and also leave a comment down below. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.